You always hear about the inner child, connecting with the inner child. I was just listening to one of my favorite tarot readers, and she said healing the inner child. And I had to touch base with myself and feel out whether I've healed the inner child. And I got a vision of talking to my inner child and saying, I got this. And I picked her up, or it picked me up. And as we began to walk down Broadway in my old neighborhood, I had to tell my younger self, we're going to go through hell, but it's going to be okay. Are you okay with that? And she said, yes, okay, let's go. It made me think about Jesus and his death and how he had to spend time walking through hell to emerge as his angel self. And that really touched me. I'd like to think that I've done the inner child work. And what does that mean? There are times in your life where, or I'll personalize it, there have been times in my life where I have betrayed myself. I've hurt myself for approval, for a number of things, accepting things that I should not accept. And not being as righteous as Jesus. See, Jesus didn't take no shit. But somebody said, we get the joy and the light beaten out of us as we go through time in this realm. And they tried to beat the shit out of Jesus, or they did, right? Until his death. But he still held on to his shit. That's why he's the best. I strive to be that. And I took shit for a long time. And my light was beaten out of me. And healing that means standing up for yourself, standing up for that little kid. Because when you're born, when you're young, you know who you are. You are invincible. You know that you can do anything. I remember the first time a little something was taken away from me. I don't know how old I was, but I was, 3, 4. And I was like, yeah, I could fly a plane. And my parents laughed at me. Gianni, they chuckled at it. But it was a chuckle of, okay, kid, sure, you'll see. And I instill the opposite in my children, but I still see the light being stripped from them, from the things that I cannot control when they're not around me. But it's those little death by 1,000 cuts that happen to us. You're still the same person. I'm still the same person that could fly a plane. And sure, you come into the natural laws of gravity, etc., etc. But there was no doubt in me in that moment that I couldn't fly. And doing the work to think about all the times that you've betrayed yourself and accepting the fact when they said, no, you can't. Instead of cowering, standing up for that part of you and going through all of those moments when you should have done what Jesus did, figuratively or literally. So I stood up for myself. And with that came my fall. And it's okay to walk through hell because none of them can touch you once you stand in your power. Once you get in tune with the true godlyhood that is bestowed in you. They call Jesus Messiah, teacher, is the definition of that. A leader. I like to always reference the parable because people like to objectify and say that we cannot be anything like him. And I like to touch on when he was walking on water and he asked his homie that was in the boat to come out into the water. You can do it. Just believe you can do it. And his homie stepped out into the water. And for a second, he did walk on that water with just one foot at least. And then he cowered back in to the raft and said, no, I'm scared. And Jesus got angry at him. Don't you have the faith of a mustard seed? The smallest amount. So I bring up that parable to identify that we are capable of so much more than we know. And yes, our flesh can go, and that may cause fear. And if you stand up and you walk through hell, holding you, carrying yourself, tunneling through this war zone that is the world. Because let's face it, this is a world of polarities, of adversity. That's the only way that things grow, with resistance. We need resistance. Like in The Vampire in Brooklyn, evil is good. He flipped it on them in a church sermon. Yes, evil is good. But it's there to present the challenge so that we can come out on the other side with our wings, with our soul glow, with our force on fleek and strong and mighty. And these things are the opposite of what is desired of us. They say if you don't have any haters, you are not doing it right. I look at the people with the heaviest adversities in their life, glowing and growing the brightest in their fields. So, do yourself a favor and touch base with those parts that you need to find forgiveness of yourself for. Don't work on forgiving the others. Those are devils sent to attack you. Work on forgiving yourself for allowing yourself to be attacked when that thing was in your chest, in your heart, in the pit of your stomach, knowing this is not the way. And when you do that, you'll be able to face that little kid, tough as shit, pick them up, and say, let's go.